Welcome to Real Talk with Beverly Briggs and Kristin Brooke. Hi.
Hello.
Okay, I feel like if I need to say that over again, it's like if I was caught off guard. Welcome to Beverly. Welcome to Real Talk with Beverly Briggs and Kristin Brooke. Hi, y'all. It's wonderful to be with you all this evening. Yes, and Kristin, you look lovely with your red lipstick there.
Yeah,
I
holidays.
heard
You
them.
know I like
I
red
heard them
though,
say red lipstick is a girl's best friend.
right?
Oh Lord,
Yes.
I
Good to
I
see
have
you.
I have what's that?
I said it's good to see you.
Yes, it's good being on together again. It is so good being on together again. I am hearing you. I'm not hearing you very loud, so I'm trying to adjust to see if it's my uh equipment that is giving a little problem. Yes.
Well,
So, guys, we just want to talk about Christmas past, Christmas present, what it's really about, just share some experiences that we have had. Um, and we want you to share your experience with us, So, Christmas time was a really great time for me growing up. I mean, it has changed drastically from what I knew it to be growing up. I know that you and I would have so vastly different experiences
you
to
think so?
share. I feel so. I feel so. Tell me how Christmas was for you growing up.
Oh, we had great Christmases growing up, but for so for my first 6 Christmases, they were by myself. I was an only child until I was 7, and I remember my fourth Christmas, or when I was 4 years old, my mom worked at the hospital, and I had to spend the holidays with my aunts and uncle and my granny. And I was so worried, like, is Santa Claus going to come? So maybe, I don't know if you celebrated with Santa, but I was so worried that he would not find me because I was not at home. And all of that worry was for nothing because I woke up the morning of Christmas when I was 4 years old and I was like, oh my goodness, look at this. He dumped out his whole bag. I was just so excited. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he found me. He
Mm.
found me and overwhelmingly found me. So, yeah, I mean, Santa Claus was a part of it during my childhood. And,
Absolutely.
of course, like the whole religious piece and celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ was also a part of it as well. So, yeah. Hello, Roseanne.
Hi. Hi, mommy.
Hi to you.
It's good to have you on as usual, and we are just sharing our experiences of Christmas. And we are seeing how different it was and how similar, and what we can take away from the experience that could even help us throughout the year. So Christmas is one day, but whatever experiences we have in life must be deep enough that we must be able to take something from it throughout our lifetime. And so yes, so well, uh, you see, definitely in the area of Santa Claus, our experiences have been different.
Yeah.
I did not grow up with the thought of Santa Claus at all. Yes, we heard the songs playing and stuff like
Right.
that, but the Christian background that I grew up in, we did not believe in Santa Claus. Um, what we were taught actually that the whole philosophy of Santa Claus was about getting. So you get a tree, and it's the gifts that you're gonna get under it, and you're gonna go to a treat, and you're gonna get, and it was about getting. Um, that's what we were taught, and
Yeah.
it it we were taught that it took away from the miracle of what Christmas is all about,
Oh
and
wow. Yeah.
so that we growing up, well, we didn't, we didn't have much. So, but what we did, we went out into the community and helped the older folks get their faces clean. Um, and
Oh,
for
sweet.
our church, we had a lot of caroling, and so we had a Christmas tree. You see my Christmas tree to the back, but our
Yes.
Christmas tree was not filled with lights. What
Yeah.
what happened in church? We had the Christmas tree, and what we used to do is pin dollars on it, and put
Oh,
toys and foodstuffs underneath it, so that around Christmas time, when we went caroling, we'll give out toys, and we'll give out food stuff, and we'll get money for those persons who need money. So
wow.
Christmas basically was a time, two things, Alan, a time of forgiving to those who were less fortunate, and doing for those who were less fortunate. Because, as I said, persons, we call them the shut-ins, who couldn't walk, who couldn't see, persons who were elderly.
Yeah.
We went out in the community, and we would help them clean, and we really did have a great time in the community around Christmas time. Um, and then for home, as again, we didn't grow up in such a fortunate situation where we had money. Our fortunate situation was that we had family life. So mommy them, they tried their best, and it was really, really, really a great Christmas actually. Because growing up, even though we didn't have much, just knowing that they were putting out their all,
Hmm.
and they were doing their best to make this day special for us, and we were actually getting to spend the time. So Christmas time, I would think about my mother and my grandmother in the kitchen cooking the best food that we would have eaten for the
Oh
year.
yes.
Right? And they would be there sitting down and chatting, and we would be outside with daddy flying those little, it's what I call it, it's a little kites we used to make, and we running all about with it, flying it. And daddy didn't have money, so, and mommy didn't have much money. So what they get us is some little, um, we call them mouth organ, or there's another name for it, but I know it has a mouth organ. 50 cents or so when I remember it good. It looked like a little corn, and that was our Christmas gift for many Christmas. And so for me, Christmas really was about how best we could reach persons in the community, and how much time we could spend with family. And so I'm waiting. I could see Kristin stepped out a moment. I'm waiting for her to come back, but I am inviting anyone who is listening to just share your greatest moment, or share your thought on what Christmas is all about. And we because we always love to have you a part of it. Yes. And so the one thing that I try to always encourage is support. And that's what I think Christmas is all about. Christmas is a time where um, we remember that God gave, and He gave His best, He gave His all, He gave His only Son to come. And He came in a lowly barn. He didn't come in a rich house with all the luxuries. He came in a lowly barn, and He came for us, and He gave Himself for us. So the Father gave Him His Son, and the Son gave His life for us. And so when we think about Christ around Christmas time, it should be about giving up ourselves for each other, about love and support. Yes, Kristin, I have been talking.
Well, I kind of
So,
heard you had a mommy duties called, so I had to mute and turn off the camera real quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did hear you, and I just want to say, yeah, we grew up differently, but the values were still the same.
Right.
In that, for Christmas, it is for people that believe in the birth of Jesus. Yeah, some
Mm,
people do celebrate, and it's about Santa Claus, and I think that's the magic of being young.
mm,
But in in our household, we didn't forget that gift giving is what it was
right.
about, and looking for the excitement of someone and what they would receive was
Mm-hmm.
part of it. And I grew up in a family with 6 kids after I was 7. So like I got
Mm,
spoiled when I was young. Um,
right.
and we had great Christmases with the 6 of us as well.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but yeah, um, ultimately, Christmas is about giving and about really the joy that we should have every day,
Right.
the love that
Mm-hmm.
we should have every day. That the spirit of the holidays is something that we bring it out more, and it's more like forward facing during this time of year, thank goodness, because I love the feeling of people being merry and getting along and wanting what's best for others.
Right.
And in my career, we've picked families, even growing up and going like to school, we would have families that we would help. And but in my professional career, I got to see the Christmas list of people that wanted, but it really wasn't a want, it was a need. Like
Mm-hmm.
little kids that need boots for the winter snow. They don't have,
Right.
or a child that just was wishing to be able to draw a picture to one day maybe get a degree in some art, and all they
Right.
wanted were colored pencils or
Mm-hmm.
special markers, and that was it. They didn't want anything else. And in a way, it was, those markers were a need in order to reach a goal. And it was just
Right.
that hope of, okay, my parents can't get it for me.
Hmm.
I'm hoping for this because this may change my life. And
Right.
when we know these things, or we know of, like, say, orphanages or foster care facilities
Mm-hmm.
where there are children, if we can give, we should give. If we
Right.
can, we should. And this is what this time of year helps us to see. Just like your church went out and gave
Mm,
to the sick and the shut in, we all can do that on our own accord. And
right.
I was taught, like, the spirit of Santa Claus was that he was so giving that
Mm-hmm.
he gave to all the children in the world. And
Right.
it wasn't about really what it, as a child, of course, like, there is that element of what am I going to get? I really, really
Mm-hmm.
want this Santa, right? But it was to be like him, and he was a depiction of what Jesus is like. And
Right.
no one can compare to what Jesus gave. You know,
Mm-hmm.
ultimately died for our sins. Like, that's the
Right.
ultimate giving, to say your soul will be redeemed.
Mm-hmm.
The old is gone and here is the new. And the significance of the birthing of that
Mm-hmm.
is just so powerful.
Yeah. It is. It is. And to add to what you just said, Christine, you know, um, I worked in a home, and those children received everything that they need, or it seemed that they seemed, or let me put it this way, they received all the material things that they need. They ate well, they had clothes, they had everything that they need, except the one thing that they wanted the most, and that was the love of persons, the warmth of people being around. You know, how best can we give of ourselves to go and spend time? Because sometimes it's easy to give. You have the money to be able to buy something and give it. But how can I give up my time? You
Mhm.
know, time. How can I best use this time to show someone that I love them and I care for them so much that I will take this time to come and spend with you because I know that you are alone. And I don't want you to be alone,
Right.
you know? Um, I myself sometimes have to remind myself as to what it's all about. Remember, Shai, when it comes around this time, you know,
Right.
remember what it is all about because we could find ourselves doing the easy thing. And again, like I was saying before, our experience, our day's experience, should not be a one day thing. It should be born out of who we are.
Right.
And even around this time, you find that there are persons who are very alone because they don't have family members. But still, we find that there are more persons who are not alone than during the year. And if we could understand that it's not just about that they have given of ourselves, but it's an overflow throughout the year of giving of ourselves, so that when Christmas time come around, really, it's not a thing of going outside of ourselves, but it is yes, it's a little more festive. Yes, there's something a little different about it, but it is
Right.
part and parcel of our characteristics of who we are, being able to be that support to persons. And I think that really, when I think about Christmas, these are the views that come in my mind.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, because it's about joy, it's about love, it's about
right.
giving, it's about all of the great qualities of believers, of people. It this time of year encompasses all that is good with the world, wanting to
Right.
see the good in everything. And really, like you said, we need to embrace that throughout the year. But this is the time of year where it's that reminder. And it's amazing. There's the great debate on whether this is the proper time of year to celebrate the birth of Jesus based on biblical sense, right? And
Mm-hmm.
whether or not this is a pagan holiday.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of debate about, the timing. But when you take away the timing and you say, okay, underneath all of this, the celebration is celebration of good, the celebration of love, the celebration of mercy, the celebration of giving, and actually being able to receive as well, right? Because
Right.
even as we give our time, somebody has to say that they're willing to receive that. So,
Mm-hmm.
if we take faith one step further and say, okay, Jesus gave us redemption, right?
Right.
We have to be willing to receive that,
To
because if we
receive
say,
it. Right.
no, I don't want that gift, then you
Mm-hmm.
don't benefit. And then what
Right.
was the giving for? So it's a two-way
Mm-hmm.
street. We have to be able to accept, and we have to be able to give.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
And one of the greatest thing of giving and receiving is that joy. Joy
Yes.
to the
Yes.
world. That joy, that joy, we have been talking again. uh, Our prelude to this time, we have been talking about I Choose Joy, Kristin's book that she brought out, right? And so
Yes.
again, it's in keeping with the theme, I choose joy. Um, I remember a little song that I loved. Ah, you have it there. I remember a little song that I love. It's not the things you do on Christmas time. It's not the gift of. It's not. It's not the things you do when the sun appears. It's not the Christmas card you send for years. It's not the joyous song as church bell ring. It's not the merry song that children sing. It's the little things you do each Christmas day that, oh Lord, It just, uh, if I sing it, I will get it, but I'm not going to sing it. I'm not going to embarrass myself. But what this song is saying,
You come from a
it's about
musical family. Come on, belt out.
I'm not going to sing. You're not going to get me that one. But the song is really saying, it's not the things that we do on Christmas Day, but the
Right,
things we do all year through. That's how it ended.
right,
The things,
right.
it's not the things we do on Christmas Day, but the things that we do all year through. And so again, when we talk about Christmas, I mean, you could never have the full joy. Yes. Roseanne Batty says, it's the little things you do all year through.
Yes.
Yes. And when you think about experiencing joy, I am not going to experience the fullness of joy with my family, even though I spend that time with them on Christmas, if we have not been good all year round.
Correct.
I have not. And
That is true.
yeah,
Makes for a
if
very
I
awkward Christmas.
felt, if I felt neglected as a person all year round, and on Christmas, here someone bringing a big gift for me. Um, thanks, but when you sit down and you think about it, I'm still alone. What about all year long?
Yeah.
And so to really, really enjoy the, the fullness of joy, we have to be able to, we have to be able to make it about more than just Christmas Day, but about the fact that we choose joy. I choose joy day after day after day. So,
Yeah.
Kristin, you want to tell us something about choosing joy?
Yeah. So to go back to what Roseanne said, saying it's the little things, it is the little things that matter. And there's a
Mm-hmm.
quote that says, it's the little things that matter in life, for those add up to become the big things. And that
Right.
makes all the difference.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, I Choose Joy is the book that I wrote after I endured sexual assault and was able to put that in a book, all of my journal entries, along with pages for people to write, reflect, and draw on their own as well. The thing about choosing joy, whether it's Christmas or any day of the year, is that we literally can make a decision about what we think and how we are going to choose to feel. And that will literally rewire our brains to go from a state of trauma to a state of resilience. And
Right.
Beverly, I know we've talked about how trauma and enduring adverse experiences takes away life from us.
Mm-hmm.
It literally affects our DNA and our genes and makes us more prone to chronic diseases and illnesses that cause an
Yeah.
early death. But
Mm-hmm.
the good news is that when you know how to change that, and it's
Right.
by experiencing resilience, and there are ways to build resilience. The
Mm-hmm.
scientists are continually studying this now. It's new. It's only been revealed since 1990s ish.
Right.
Um, but you literally can take that DNA that's been damaged and heal
Mm-hmm.
it when you
Mm-hmm.
start to reflect in gratitude, in love, in joy, and have these different emotions that allow
Right.
it literally changes the blood flow in the brain so that the
Mm-hmm.
pathways are rebuilt. And as those
Right.
pathways are rebuilt, DNA strands in your entire body are healed,
Mm-hmm. Right.
which re-extends your lifetime and allows
Mm-hmm.
your body to become healthier and more optimal. So when
Mm-hmm.
we say like choose joy and do this on an everyday basis, there's
Mm-hmm.
actual science behind it. And if you look at an African American pediatrician out of California, unfortunately, I can't think of her name right now, but you look up the ACEs study. She
Mhm.
has speeches on adverse childhood experiences, which is what
Mhm.
ACEs stands for. And she talks about how this affects us even as adults. So,
Mhm.
Christmas and that feeling that we get, there's something to it.
Right.
There's something to it. Even when we
Mhm.
think about the devil can't steal my joy, you know how we say that? I
Mhm.
reflected on that before. I actually have a piece that I wrote about why joy is important. Joy is valuable
Right.
because if it wasn't, the devil wouldn't try to steal it. Joy is something that we are expected to have when we are a part of God's kingdom
Mhm.
in the here and now. It's
Mhm.
valuable. It's something that is entitled to us.
Right.
And yeah, the devil wants to steal that from you. You can't let him. And that's where knowing knowing the Bible, knowing the word to stand on, and being able to be careful in what you say, because the power of life and death is in the tongue. The
Mhm.
decision for joy comes before that tongue even speaks, because the power
Right.
of life and death comes from the thought that you choose and the feeling that you allow yourself to feel. You know, if
Mhm.
someone makes you angry, you can say, you know, just as someone wants to make you happy and give you a gift, someone can say, okay, well, I'm going to upset this person, right? There are people
Mhm.
that upset people on purpose. That's
Right.
also packaged as a gift, right? To blow up right in front of you and cause
Mhm.
you to have a reaction. But you can
Mhm.
choose to say, I don't accept that gift. I don't want the gift of anger. So I'm not going to accept that. I'm not going to allow that in me.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to focus on that. What else went good today? What else can I
Right.
focus on that went right?
Right.
First thing is
Yes.
I woke up this morning.
Mhm.
I have gratitude for that, and I should be
Right.
joyful for that because I have an opportunity to create
Mhm.
any kind of day that I want to today.
Mhm.
And that's building
Yes.
resilience.
Uh, And it's something I always say, you know, this world have an abundance of evil, but it also have an abundance of good.
Yes.
And it's up to us what we focus on. It's up to
Yes.
us now. An attitude of gratitude makes an entire difference. How we choose to see things makes
Yes.
a total difference.
Yes.
Yes.
You
So
can tell.
we have. Oh Lord, I don't want to pronounce that name
Looks like
bad. I
Yuri.
think it's
Yeah.
Yuri Edad
Yeah.
saying life without you is me. Uh, yes, yes, Yuri, we are happy to have you on with us tonight.
Goodness.
Uh, so, yes, and you just put a smile on our face, right?
Right? Who's cooking and cleaning? Well, we are still.
If he wants to know who's cooking and cleaning, hey,
Right?
we cook and clean every single day, right?
Yes. It doesn't stop.
And we choose this time for ourselves and for others every single day also, you know, whether we come in live or doing something else, it's very important that we don't just find ourselves working. I always tell persons, you know what? Work don't die. We die and we go, and everything that we see there is still there. You know, so it's good to just take that time off for yourself and for others, and just free up yourself and just, you know, we're having a little chat this evening
Right.
with you, Yuri. So it's nice to have you on. He says we are pretty, so you give us a pass. Thank you very much, Yuri.
Thank you.
Yes. So, yes. So, what I was saying,
Right. Let's rewind.
Well, let's come back. I'm trying to remember what I was saying. Yes, so it's about choosing an attitude of gratitude. You know, I could wake up and I could first, today is so rainy, boy, and I am only seeing the mud.
Mhm.
Or I could say, wow, today is rainy and I can see all the blossom and flowers. I can see the fact that, okay, our dam is getting water so that we can continue drinking water because we take for granted the things that we have each day, like drinking water and water to bathe, right? There are persons
Right.
who don't have that, but we have it. Without the rain, we won't have it.
Right.
And so that if we can decide to get up each day and have an attitude of gratitude,
Absolutely.
it will make it will make a whole difference in our life. It will surely make a difference in our life. And it as Christine said, that is the one thing that I also went and studied on, and that's blood and DNA. And the reason I did that is because one of my favorite texts, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. And I was like, why the blood of the Lamb? Why blood? What blood? Blood is actually life. Blood is our life. What is made up of
Yes.
blood? Blood, blood has so much in it. We have cells, we have water, we have oxygen, uh, uh,
All the
we have
nutrients that we eat
DNA,
transports
right?
through the blood.
Ah,
It gives,
right,
it life. You like you said, it is really the life energy. And people say the lifeblood,
right.
right? It is literally the way that energy is transported through the human body, and we are
Mm-hmm,
energy at the end of the day. We are atoms and molecules bound together,
mm-hmm,
and it, it just is so miraculous in the way that bodies work, whether it's human bodies or animal bodies, but our
right,
consciousness is what makes us different.
right. And again, when I go back to another text, Kristin, it says, "Life and death is in the power of the tongue." So your
Mhm.
words is life. And so again, when we put words with life, and our blood is life, then we can understand very well how much our words can affect our DNA. So when we choose to have that attitude of gratitude, then that can affect our DNA in a positive way. And it affecting our DNA, it also affects our, I will tell you just now what I want to say. There's
It also affects our hormones.
hormones,
Yeah,
hormones,
we're thinking the same
hormones, which
thing.
affect our personality,
Yes. Yes.
right?
Yes.
I,
Our
yeah,
hormones affect all parts of our body. And
right.
when you change from stress hormones of cortisol
Mm-hmm,
and fat
mm-hmm,
being added to the body at a higher rate because you're stressed, which
right.
can continually create more stress as you gain weight, it can
Because funny
become
thing is because
cyclical.
hormones also affect what we eat, right?
Yes, hormones affect what we
Believe it
eat,
or
and what
not.
we eat affects the hormones. So you have to
Right.
make a conscious decision.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just now realizing this is a conscious decision to say, okay, I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
change from stress to now moving that decision to not be stressed, more self-care, more
Right.
more peace, more joy, more
Mm-hmm.
gratitude. And actually, as you experience those happy feelings, you have those happy thoughts, it
Mm-hmm.
changes the chemistry and the hormones in the body. So then the
Right.
cortisol is replaced, serotonin
Mm-hmm.
is created, and that creates a happy feeling. And then that
Mm-hmm.
becomes cyclical, and you're constantly creating happiness within your body, literally creating
Right.
happiness.
And you have that joy that you so long for. Even at this time, I have been, you know, they made me an admin on a suicide prevention group, Facebook group. And every single day you see persons saying how much that they are alone, how much they don't feel like living anymore. And so there may persons that will be looking at this video. Having an attitude of gratitude brings results, but it's not a quick fix.
And
Because sometimes uh, you said to do that and we did it and we didn't. It's not a quick fix.
no,
It
but it
takes
takes some
time. One of
reframing.
the things I you
Yes.
don't see, you don't see growth.
Right.
You don't wake up in the
Well, it's
morning
not
and
gonna
say, but
be
I
like
grow
that.
an inch.
Right. No, it doesn't work like that. Um, it can for some things and for some people, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you're talking about something so deep and so deeply ingrained in your body that it's to the hormonal level that you are suicidal,
Mm-hmm.
or circumstances in your life and some of them that you can't control, it's not
Right.
just about you. So you have to have
Mm-hmm.
time in these gratitude principles in
Mm-hmm.
order to see those changes. And
Right.
really reframing, and I'm sorry to kind of jump in and you were talking, but
Mm-hmm. It's okay.
reframing the
Mm-hmm.
mind to say, this is hard and I don't want to be here. One thing is, okay, if you've contemplated how you're going to do it and
Mm-hmm.
when, or one of the two, then you need to call someone right away and get support from anybody, because
Right.
Beverly and I are saying your life is worth living. But if
Mm-hmm.
you're not at the point where you've contemplated when and where you would do it and commit suicide, and we can't be afraid to speak about suicide. We have to be able to ask people, have you considered killing yourself? When they
Mm-hmm.
say, I don't want to do this anymore, I wish I wasn't even living, those are signs that someone is not happy. They are very sad, and we have to be
Right.
willing to give them our time as a resource
Mm-hmm.
and our support and our love, and to not judge and say, oh, I've been through worse. But that might be
Mm-hmm.
the worst that they've ever been through. And so we
Oh,
have
oh,
to see from their perspective and just
right.
be open to loving at
Yeah.
a time when they're at their lowest point. Their lowest point
One of
may
the
not be our lowest point, but we
hmm.
have to understand that it's theirs and respect that as being low.
Yeah. Uh, Sorry for cutting in twice, but
You're
one
fine.
of the things that we do also, we say, there are persons who are going through worse than you.
And that is not a supportive comment. We need to
No, it's
stop
not.
that. We need to
It's
change the
not.
culture of, that's not the worst thing that's ever happened. Don't minimize
Mm,
what somebody's going through. Yes.
no.
Yeah, and we say it to be supportive, to
Yes,
say,
we do it.
you can get through this, but
Mm-hmm.
saying you can get through this is much better than saying other people have had it worse.
Right. Because again, just as we have different DNA, we have different personalities. Different personalities mean that we would go through things differently. We will see things differently. And so that we have to understand that I like this text that says, when I am weak, God was strong. And when we have God's Spirit with us, it's about that. It's about that. The reason for us having different personalities is that we can be that support. When you are weak, I am strong. So, yes,
Yeah.
Kristin and I have been through, we both have been through sexual assault, but I
Mhm.
want to promise you that we have both um, gone through it differently.
Absolutely.
We
And
have both overcome it differently,
yes,
and we are still both experiencing it differently.
right.
And I cannot say because I didn't cry over something, or she can't say because she didn't cry over something, I shouldn't cry about it, or she shouldn't cry about it.
Or I wouldn't. There are people that will say, if I went through that, this is what I would do. You don't know until you've been
Hmm.
there. And
Right.
even if you
And
wouldn't or you didn't, It doesn't mean
Mm,
that that is the response that everyone should have. We all respond to things differently.
right. And for those who are viewing, you are viewing Real Talk with Beverly Briggs and Kristin Brooke. And yes, we advertise that we are speaking about Christmas. And for you who may have now come in, we are speaking about Christmas. But what we were saying is that Christmas is more than the day. Christmas spills over throughout the year. And Christmas is a wonderful, it's like a wonderful package coming at the end of year where we put a bow on the year for all that we have been doing throughout the year. And one of the things that we have, you know, been really pushing is support. And so that is what we are talking about now, how we can be support throughout the year and even at Christmas time. You know, how we can use our time wisely by helping others. As you were saying before, it's easy sometimes to give things. We can go out and we can have a whole shopping list. We have the money, we buy, we give, but sometimes we don't give of our time. And even in giving up of our time, we have to understand how we give of our time because I can take up my time and I can go and I can sit down with somebody and then I go and I tell them, listen, why are you crying over this? No need to cry over it. People going through worse than you. And so that we are just walking through some steps as to how best we can be supportive at Christmas time and throughout the year. Yes, Chris.
Yes, yes. Thank you for that summary, Beverly. Helping people that are just jumping in to understand where we're at in the conversation.
Mm,
That, yes, it is so important. It's so important for us to understand the perspective of the person that's coming to us for support and to just to not be judgmental in the way that we speak to people. Not have an expectation of wanting them to be stronger than what they are. We have to be
mhm.
careful because, again, life and death is in the power of the tongue. And
Right.
if what you say is telling someone, well, right now you feel weak, but there have been others that have been stronger than you, what are you telling them? You're reinforcing that they are weak.
That they are
And that is
weak.
the opposite of what we want to do to people. To
Right.
build strength, we
Mm,
offer strength. We offer support. We show them how they are strong. If you know them
mhm.
personally, then you can say, I've seen you do XYZ, and I know that you can get through this too. But not to say, oh, you've done this, stop crying about it. So it's the way that we say things, the way that we word it. And if we're doing it from a loving, joyful, and giving standpoint, then we can help people more than hurt them. And if you do say
Right.
something that hurts someone, just be willing to apologize. Just be
Mm,
willing to acknowledge that you're human and that what you said may not have been in good timing or it may not
right.
have been the right thing. But what did you
Mm,
mean to say? Say that and let them know what I
right.
meant was, and I'm trying to love you or support you or give you strength.
Mhm. And take the time, you know, take the time to educate. Let us take the time to educate ourselves.
Yes.
Because the thing is, again, we know that we are not going out there and maliciously attempting to bring persons down or to put them in a deeper state of depression. We are going out there with all the best wishes. But when we really, really want to help persons, again, we come back to it. It's about the quality of time that we put in. And one of the things that make our time very, in what it qualifies our time is the time that we take to educate ourselves on the present situation that is taking place. What is taking place in marriages today? What is taking in homes there? What is abuse? How abuse affects a person? What about personality? It is so funny that we know so little about ourselves and humanity, really. You know, many persons, we know so little about ourselves. And so we just want to encourage you, take the time and even sit down and have some self talk. Hi, Sherry and Cooper, nice to have you on.
Hello.
Yes, it's always good to have you locked in with us. Yeah, take that time. Take that time
Yeah,
so
it's
that
critical.
when we go out there and we decide to become a support, when we see things that we see, we must really get the result that we're looking for. We must really, really get that result that we are looking for.
Yes. So, Beverly, what else did you want to talk about as far as Christmas?
So, guys, for Sherry and Cooper and others who come in, we are encouraging you to share a moment with us for Christmas. So, what do you believe Christmas is all about? Put it in the chat, join our conversation. Uh, Christmas. I love the family. I don't know, I gone back to family. I just think Christmas is such an awesome family time, where you can get together and sing and dance. I grew up, our house was always noise. I, to be honest, I cannot take the noise as I used to, but sometimes I still like my little,
Right?
bacchanal, as we just call it, where we sing and we dance and we have a really good time. Don't make Christmas about work. Take the time, it's all year round. We say, I'm tired and sick and tired and sick and tired of being sick and tired. We live this tired life where we are always on the rush, always working, always take some time off. We're back talking about quality time. Take some time off for friends and family and just enjoy the moment. Not just the 2 hours after we finish cook and do all of that, but enjoy the moment. Really enjoy each other, spend that time with each other, and know that yes, it's good to have a good looking house and all of that. But even when we do it in moderation and do it together. You know,
Yes.
uh, even with doing it, you don't make so much a work out of it as the one when you do it together, it becomes a fun thing. And two, when you put on music and you dance around the house and you sing, yes, Christmas time becomes such an awful, I said awful, sorry, awesome. Such
Right.
an awesome time that we can spend with friends and family. Sherry Ann Cooper says, Christmas about friends, it's about friends and family, sharing, giving, enjoy yourself. Yes, it's
Yes.
about enjoying yourself, it's about having joy. That's why the song says joy to the world.
Yes.
Anything else you wanted to share, Kristin, on Christmas?
I just want to remind everybody to care for themselves. You know, the Bible tells us in many instances to care for ourselves, to care for our loved ones, to love others as ourselves, which
Right.
recently, a pastor had me thinking about that. If we are to love our neighbors as ourselves, one, it's urging us to love others, but we can't do that without loving ourselves. And so I encourage all of you to just remember to be grateful for who you are, who you've become over this past year. You have the ability right now to be watching us, to be listening to us, or to be reading a transcript of us. All of those things are amazing feats in using your senses and your God given abilities. That makes you amazing just in and of itself. So don't forget that in order to love others, you must love yourself and love, joy, mercy. Yes, we are to give it to others, but don't forget to give that to yourself as well.
Kristin, as we talk about joy, just remind them what you do and about your book.
I am an author and a resilience coach. I help people that have gone through a traumatic event to overcome their trauma. And my most recent book is called I Choose Joy, an Overcomer's Guide Through a Secret Journey. And the foreword was written by none other than the great Les Brown. In it, he says, I read this book to keep me motivated and inspired. And what an amazing, amazing, every time I read that, it just kind of blows my mind that to me, the world's greatest motivator is motivated by this book. And let me tell you, this book was written a decade ago. And I knew that I wanted to help people. Never in a million years did I ever think that Les Brown would say it helped him, but he has. And there are pages in it for people to write and to reflect and to really understand the power of the mind, the power of decision despite trauma. And I just want to remind all of you that if you've been through a traumatic event, and 70% of the world will have gone through a traumatic event before the end of their lifetime. So there are more of us that have gone through trauma than not. You are not alone if you have gone through a traumatic event. But I want to remind you that you can resolve that. You can become stronger and you can stand in your power and resilience. You can choose joy. You can have happiness. Yes, it comes in waves. Yes, sometimes trauma does hit us when we least expect it, but building our resilience does not mean bouncing back. It means that we have the ability to foresee the things that will cause us to tune in and to be stronger the next time it affects us. So if you want to learn more, go to my website. It's kristinbrooke.com, and I'd be happy to share more with you.
Nice.
Thanks, Beverly.
When we go to the good book, the Bible, it tells about a story where Jesus met this woman, the Samaritan woman by the well. She had come in the middle of the day, some suspect, because she lived a life that was immoral and she was judged by a lot. So she, instead of coming at the cool of the day with everyone, she would come in the heat of the day when there was no one to tease and no one to bother her. And there she was at this well, and this Jewish man come and speak to her. Now the Jews did not speak to the Samaritans because they call them dogs. The Samaritans were Jews themselves, but Jews that had intermingled with uh, the other persons that they call heathens or Gentiles, and now they didn't want to have anything to do with them. Here was this Jewish man saying to her, "Give me some water to drink." And she couldn't believe that he was speaking to her. And in her mind, he must not know who she is. And the conversation came down to where he told her exactly who she was. And he told her that he knew, that she had 5 husbands and the one that she had was not his. And she recognized, wow, this man knew me. He knew my lifestyle. He had a reason to call me a dog, but he didn't. He accepted me. And she was so full with joy because someone had accepted her, even though her lifestyle was not the best. And Jesus is that man who spoke to her and he said, one day persons will worship me in spirit and in truth. 1 John 4:8 says, God is love. And so when we worship in spirit and in truth, that's when love is reigning within us and through us. And so at this Christmas time, in choosing joy, which is a fruit of the Spirit, that same Spirit of love. Let us allow love to be the thing or the person that governs us, that govern our every decision. Let us not just do what is easy, but let us remember our experiences. Let us remember the things that makes us happy, the things that brings us most joy, and let us be able to extend it to others this Christmas so that we all can have a beautiful Christmas. So I go whereas you see the lights behind me on the tree, there are some persons that are living in darkness. Their world is dark. Their inside is dark. Their mind is clouded. And they need to be brought some light. And we are the light bearers. We have the opportunity to light someone's world. So, yes, we take the time to light our trees and we take the time to light our houses. But let us remember to light someone else's world. I am Beverly Briggs, and with me is my co host, Kristin Brooke. We are so happy to share this time with you. Roseanne Baptiste said, we choose joy, thus Christmas. Yes, when we choose Christmas, we are saying that we choose joy. We are not making this about a pagan thing. We are making this thing about each other. And we will see you next week, Tuesday. Next week, Tuesday, we will be having Shoma Alexander on. And she is a single mother. She have been through, she got married early. She have been through a tremendous amount of adversity, but she stood tall through it. And she went out there, she got a degree, she's a teacher, she is a very marvelous person. And she says, I am single and loving it. Single looks good on me. That's the topic of next week's program in Shire's Room. Single looks good on me. And so she will tell us how she was able to come out of a marriage and still feel good being single, still feel good about herself and not feel like she needed to be in a relationship, and how she could still be able to grow, and expand her wings and to become a better person. All right, guys, we are saying bye for now. All the best for the Christmas season. Don't forget, our future belongs to us.